Good morning, everyone. This time on Embark with Mark, we're going to change out these 35 by 1250 by 15s with those 33 by 10.5 by 15s. Let's get into it. So before we can do anything and get those wheels on, what we have to do is we have to get all this off. We have to take the manual hubs off. We'll be replacing it with unit bearings. While we're doing that, we're also going to do chromoly outers. I already have chromoly outers and inner axle shafts, but we're going to keep chromoly axle shafts in here, so we're going to do that. But before we can go any further, we got to get all this stuff off and get it back to stock. So let's work on doing that. So it begs the question, why would I do all this work to go with a smaller tire, to get rid of my precious manual hubs and go to a unit bearing? Well, a few reasons. One, let's tackle the tire question first. Narrower tires perform better to me. And this is going to be a test. We're going to see... There we go. We're going to see through testing how a 10.5 inch wide tire performs over a 12.5 inch wide tire. Now, before you guys try to say, yeah, but you're running a 33 over a 35, I have ran 33 by 10.5 or by 12.5 before. So for me, I'll be able to tell the difference in performance. Ugh. That's not gonna work. Also, running 4.5 inches of lift, so I have a 1 1/4 body lift and a 3.5 inch suspension lift with 35s is not enough. I have about 4.5 inches of bump stop in here to keep tires out of things, and I can tell you that having almost no up travel is not a good thing. I think in the front I have 2 inches of up travel, in the back it's about 1 inch, and it's not a fun time when you're off-road. So there's that. And, you know, the narrower tires will help in inclement weather and snow, and I live in an area that has snow and stuff. So the narrower tires, the BFGs that we're going to, will just be better for that. Not a knock on the general grabbers. They are awesome in the rocks. I would definitely recommend them to anyone who is in the rocks or mud or anything. They've been fantastic. I've not had a single problem with them. They're just not good in ice and packed snow. No mud terrain is. That's just fact of life. Now, getting past the tires though, what about the manual hubs? Why would I remove them? Well, let's talk about the pros of the unit bearings first. Everyone knows the cons, so I'm not going to go too much into that. We all know that you can't service them, and if you break a shaft, you got to deal with it. You can't just unlock and, you know, all that stuff. And some people think they're more expensive. They're not. But let's talk about their pros. So, what's the plus to a unit bearing? You don't have to deal with all of this. If you do need to replace a unit bearing, you go buy one, you undo your caliper, 3 bolts, and you undo your main nut here, that your axle spline nut thing, whatever it's called, I forget at the moment. You undo those bolts, and then you can just slip it off and slip a new one. There's no pressing studs out. There's no trying to press a rotor onto it. There's none of that stuff. You don't have to rebuild anything. You know, so as far as serviceability go, I will say they have better serviceability because you do not have to mess with them. And, you know, they're touted to last. People in the community claim that a unit bearing will last about 100,000 miles. There we go. See, that seal lasted pretty good. That wasn't bad. And then see, here is what I'm going to tell you about this kit. Is not only do you have a seal you have to pound in here, right? That's what's in there is a seal. But We also have a seal here, this little rubber seal, and then you have this plastic spacer, and plastic is key here. Plastic spacer, and then you're going to have a wiper seal right here, and that guy. So just on the back side of this, you've got 3 seals in order to keep everything out. That's just too much going on, too much trouble. You know, in actuality, I don't think unit bearings are as bad. People give them a bad rap. Honestly, I would have preferred that I did not go with them, knowing what I know now. I would not go back with a unit bearing. I would, or not go back with a, I would not do the manual hub conversion kit that I did. I would stay with a unit bearing. So, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to press this side out. So, for what you don't know, if you guys are watching this video trying to decide if you want a manual hub kit, the one thing about these is you have to have new outer axle shafts, and they're specially splined. They're lengthened, and with this, what you have to do is you've got to press in a new U-joint and all that stuff. I have new chromoly, and they're chromoly. That is the nice thing that comes with the kits. These are chromoly shafts. The outers, I purchased separately chromoly inners, just for peace of mind. You don't have to though, and I've actually run it without chromoly inners without an issue. I just upgraded because I was running 35s. But yeah, so I'm going to, because I'm not going to run the manual hub kit anymore, I have to change this out, and I do have my originals, but I want to run chromolys just to keep the strength up. So I'm going to go press this out real quick and we'll get the new one in. Alright, here we go, reassembly. I was thinking about reusing the old U-joint, and you know, I just decided might as well put a new one in while I'm in there. So that's what I did. So I put a brand new U-joint. Okay, that guy's in. This thing gets me every single time. Every single time. Okay. All right, I think that's it. All right, here we go. Wow, that sun is blinding. Okay, so there it is. Wheels on. Now let me go do the other side and get all the other wheels on, and then we'll be back. There it is. It's done. Let's go ahead and back it out and take a look. Oh man, it's starting to get a little cold out here. So, what do you guys think? How do you think it looks? I think it looks great. More importantly, it drives great. Narrow tires so far, I drove them on the road, and it's not a placebo effect. they do drive better. They don't wander. There's no following in the ruts like I've had before. But you know what? I'm not going to say that this is the end-all be-all solution. We are going to roll with these tires for quite a long time and test them out. I've had every tire in between as far as standard sizes goes. I've had 31s, 32s. I've had 33s. I've had 35s, but they all have been wide tires. I've never had 33 by 10.5 by 15, so I've never had a narrow, taller tire, and I'm excited for it. I get to take bump stops out. That's a plus for me. Like, you know, I said a lot of this earlier in the video, but basically the choice came down to, I think this was the right choice, and we're going to test this out and see how it does everywhere. And I think it looks good. I think the 35s were actually a little too big on it too soon. I need more lift kit to accomplish that. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think. Tell me how you think the Jeep looks. And let me know what you think about wide versus narrower tires. There's a lot of discussion out there on them, but now that I have both, I'll give you my sense later on, my opinion later on how I think the narrow tires are doing versus the wider tires. And I'll keep in mind that they're not 35s anymore. I'll keep that in mind when I give you an honest review of the narrow versus wide tires. But anyway, guys, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you like what's going on the channel, hit subscribe down below. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you know what to do. Hit the comments down below. We'll see you guys later. Thank you.